You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic bootcamp, Moveville University, Pure Chiro Notes, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Vita Chiropractic, the Universal Traction System, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, and Imaging Services. Let's hustle. Hey guys, welcome to the Chiro Hustle live stream. I got John Vilkelis. He is a 24-year practitioner, graduated from the Fountainhead Palmer College, Davenport, Iowa. Palmer rugby guy. So how are you doing today, John?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Jim. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, so we're going to talk all things chiropractic. We're going to talk about your chiropractic career a little bit. We're going to talk about how Palmer Rugby helped shape your career and your life. And we're going to talk about the upcoming symposium that is April 7th and 8th back in Davenport, Iowa. So
April 13th and 14th.
Wrong date. So April 13th and 14th.
So it's a good thing I'm on the board of directors for the Dr. David D. Palmer Athletic Trust, so I know what date our symposium is.
And I'll be there too, but I'm driving, so I didn't buy a plane ticket this time. So 13th, 14th, Davenport, Iowa. Let's just talk chiropractic first before we get into the whole story of this athletic symposium that you guys are putting on. So what got you into chiropractic?
Like a lot of guys, a lot of girls, I got hurt. And I went to the chiropractor, and the chiropractor fixed me, and I went, wow, that is the coolest thing that I have ever seen. I think that's what I'm going to do with my life. So that's how I ended up being a chiropractor. It was funny because I got hurt in high school wrestling with my brother. Okay, and I went to a chiropractor that my mom was seeing, and he fixed me up and helped me out with this kind of bad neck injury for a wrestler. And the more I looked into it, the more fascinated I became with it, and the more I was set on becoming a chiropractor.
That's really cool. And how did you decide to pick Palmer?
It's funny. I actually ended up going to Palmer almost by chance, and I'm going to say by destiny, okay, because I was looking at going to New York Chiropractic College, because they were on Long Island, and my grandmother's house was like 10 minutes from their campus. And so she was all set to have me come and live in her finished attic, and she was going to cook for me, which is just unbelievable. Okay, and it turned out that year that I was looking at them, they bought the old Eisenhower College in upstate New York, up around Rochester. And they were moving up there, and they were losing at least half of their faculty because nobody was going to leave their practice at home in Long Island. And so then I said, oh, well, I don't want to go there if they're losing half of their practice. And so I said, where else can I go? And I looked at a few other schools, and Palmer really, resonated with me, the whole message they were giving me, and the way people talked about the school and how fired up people were when I made a visit and everything else. I mean, it was real easy to make the choice once I did that.
Yeah, that's cool. And, I had no idea that Palmer, even when I was growing up there, had a rugby team. And you're considered an old boy now, right?
Well, I guess so. I tell my kids all the time, I'm not old. Your mom's old, but I'm an old boy now. It's funny though, right before I went out to Palmer, maybe 2 weeks before I was supposed to get there, somebody told me they had scholarships for rugby. I didn't know that they had scholarships before I went. So I had to play a season before I got any money from them for a scholarship. But we have 30 full scholarships right now for rugby. That's divided between the men's team and the women's team. So yes, we have scholarships for women's rugby. Very few schools in the entire country can say that. So we're very proud of that. Very proud of our women in the fall season. They did really well and won their league. and they really ended up placing, I think it came out to the final 8. They were 8th in the country.
That's pretty impressive, man. And
It is.
how did you guys decide that you guys were going to ramp up the scholarships for rugby at Palmer?
Well, we had found out through a series of meetings with the Board of Trustees that there had been some miscommunication between our alumni group and the Board of Trustees. And so after a few meetings, we kind of cleared everything up, and they realized that, we're really a very dynamic group, and we were very committed. And so what they did was they charged us to establish the first academic and need-based scholarships at Palmer College. Every other scholarship of that kind at the school before was not established at the school. And so we've set up an endowed scholarship fund that's awarded every year. And, somebody usually it's directed towards somebody that's, a good student, not necessarily the greatest student, and somebody that usually has a family while they're going through school. If you, any chiropractors that are watching this, if you were going through school when you were single and unattached and had no responsibility, and you remember how difficult it was and how, difficult it was for finances and everything else, imagine if you're married and you got a couple of little kids at home. Okay, and so this is a group that, seems to be targeted by our scholarship, which is exactly what we want. We want to give somebody that needs a little help, a little help.
That's cool. And what has it done for the program since you guys started the push for rugby scholarships?
Also, I never really answered the last question. I just told you about the endowed scholarship fund. And so the Board of Trustees charged us to establish this scholarship. And then when we established this scholarship, they said, we're going to give you this many more scholarships. Okay. And then now our deal is that they want us to refer students to the school, and they want us to raise more funds because we're building a permanent field, multi-use field, but a rugby field on the campus.
That's pretty cool. I know that that's going to help a lot with people being able to enjoy the festivities more and to be able to be more of a unity with the school, and having something like that near campus is going to do a lot for the community there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk about Palmer Rugby in your life particularly. How has Palmer Rugby changed your life as to who you are today?
It's funny because at the time, when you're in school and you're in the club, sometimes you feel like it's a little stressful. You got to go to practice every day. You got to hit the weights. You got to do all this extra training and you have to do your course load. And the one thing at Palmer is that your academics always come first. Okay, and so if you have to miss practice because you got a big test coming up and you got to study, well, then you need to go study. Okay, and other schools, when they give you scholarships, man, they don't care about your academics, man. You got to perform, and that's it. And you got to show up to practice every day, no matter what. Okay, and so that was a very important thing for me. I didn't take advantage of that very often, but knowing that it was available was a big deal. Okay, and it started kind of right from the beginning for me that Palmer Rugby was kind of more of a family thing, like they really cared about you and what you were doing and how you needed to take care of yourself. And as I got into more experiences with our alumni group, okay, I found out that was all really true. All right, and anybody that's involved in our alumni group now and sees it, you can see that it's really just this big kind of semi-functional or semi-dysfunctional Palmer Rugby family, and you got your crazy uncles and the crazy aunt who, thinks that you're not eating enough and you need to eat a second dinner and everything else, just like your regular family. And so, it's really been a fabulous experience for me because it's someplace that, I really get to experience more love in my life and really have a sense of belonging to a group that is always happy to see you.
That's really cool. And honestly, you guys took me under the wing probably 10 years ago, and I learned a lot about Palmer rugby. I learned about the history of chiropractic. I learned so much. And actually, my involvement with Palmer and the rugby team actually sparked my chiropractic career. So I can't say enough about the involvement, meeting you guys and learning about that brotherhood early on, what it did to charge me forward and to be a part of the larger chiropractic family.
It's great, Jim. I mean, you've done some fabulous work for us, and I've seen a whole bunch of the great work you've done online. So I'm glad we've had that effect on you.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had the same trajectory in my life without the Palmer Rugby family. I say that in all honesty because I didn't really know what chiropractic was other than when I got adjusted, I felt better.
Sure, sure. That's a common thing for people, and they don't really get the whole thing where this is really turning on your nervous system so that things function right in your body. It works on your immunity, it works on your digestion, it works on your sleep patterns. It really works to regulate everything.
Yeah, it definitely has an effect on all aspects of life. It makes you think more clearly. It makes you behave better. It makes you just have a better quality of life. And we call it the chiropractic lifestyle, which I've learned how to communicate quite effectively over the past 7 years. And so, as you being a Palmer Rugby alumni, how do you give back, and how can other people give back? I know one of the tenets of chiropractic at Palmer is give back through your time, talent, or your treasure. And what are some of the things that you're doing to support Palmer Rugby? Time, talent, treasure.
At this point, and for the last 7 years, I've been a director for the Dr. David D. Palmer Athletic Trust. Okay, and we're the ones that are organizing things to put on the symposium for our alumni group and for other alumni and other doctors from other schools as well. I give, my time, my talent, my treasure. I'm giving to all three. I'm happy if we can have any one of those from any one of our alumni. Sometimes people can't give their treasure, so they give some time. Sometimes they can't give that much time, but they have a talent that they can do something for us, and so they contribute that way. Some of the ways, if you want to contribute some time or talent, you can contact any one of us that are on the board. Matt Walker, Dr. Todd Salo, Dr. Bobby Rendina, myself, and Dr. Jay Hartley. Okay, and we can help, get you involved in any way. If you want to donate your treasure, okay, then the way to do it is you can go to palmerrugby.com, and there's a Donate Now button, and you can set up recurring donations. If you're donating $1,000 a year to us, I believe that the college is going to include you as a member of the President's Club the way they used to a number of years ago. And so you'll be invited to the President's Club luncheon and things like that at homecoming, and you'll have that recognition as well. So that's how we do it.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic bootcamp, Moveville University, Pure Chiro Notes, Dr. Alok Trivedi, the Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Vita Chiropractic, the Universal Traction System, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, and Imaging Services. Let's hustle. So I know that you guys are doing something really cool, and you guys are bringing a hot list of speakers to the symposium this year on the 13th and 14th of April. Let's talk about some of the speakers and maybe somebody that you're excited to see, or maybe you're excited to see all of them.
I'm pretty excited to see all of them. We have some kind of our old standards. We have Dr. Fred Schofield. I love to see his talks all the time. He gets me all fired up and, really ready to go. And Dr. Kevin Huron comes and does extremities. If you do any extremity work, if you have not seen Dr. Huron, you are completely missing what this guy is doing, stuff that is completely different than everybody else. And it is a fantastic system for adjusting extremities. We have Dr. Alan Sokolov. He's the chiropractor for the NFL, for the Ravens. Okay, he comes and talks about different things with his interaction with them, sometimes concussions, sometimes sort of the business of chiropractic in the NFL. We have Dr. Matt Hartenberg this year. He's new. He's one of our alumni, and I'm looking forward to seeing him speak. And then we're also going to have Roberto Monaco. He's going to come and talk, and I hear from Dr. Matt Walker that he is something else. He is a fantastic speaker, so I'm looking forward to that. And then we have Dr. Brad Glowicki at the end. Well, not at the end, but we have him. He's just the last one I'm mentioning. He's a real heavy hitter. If you want to learn how to get patients into your practice, this is the guy that you want to see. He's very dynamic, and you're going to hear a lot of new things from him as well. So it's a very, very exciting lineup. I'm really, very excited, ready to go.
Yeah,
hope I didn't leave anybody out.
I don't think you did. And, I think the cool thing is that you guys have really, really a good foundation of leadership. And I think that you guys have all kind of found your roles within the team. And even though you guys aren't still going out there onto the field, you guys are manning the team for the leadership of the future of Palmer and the future of Palmer rugby. Let's talk a little bit about what it's been like to see your group come from the early beginnings to where it is now.
Okay, well, in the beginning, a lot of it was very new because we hadn't had this system set up. We didn't have a trust set up. We did have an old boys organization and an alumni group. So we have to work much more closely with the school now. Okay, and so we are working with people at the college who are kind of keeping us on the rails for keeping things legal, for what we can do with collecting donations or giving back to any of our donors or, any of these types of things. And, it's nice to have people that are experts at this to keep us from getting in trouble. It's the truth, and none of us in the group are lawyers. We're not fundraising experts. We're experts at getting people well and getting people healthy and maybe building relationships we're good at. Okay, and so, the other stuff we need a little advice for. So it's great to have that structure and have that backing from the college and basically have a whole staff of people that are helping us accomplish all of these things and just taking care of the legwork for us so that we don't have to do it. In the beginning, we were doing almost everything ourselves. And so it's nice that as we're getting bigger, we're getting more and more support from the college to help us with all of this stuff.
Yeah, it really seems like you guys became better systematized and you guys actually built a structure, because I remember when I lived with Dr. Matt Walker back in Chicago, it was like the early stages of a lot of this work. And I saw how he jumped in with both feet and how the system started to develop and people started getting their positioning within the structure and how things started to develop more as almost like a business front instead of just kind of a powwow where a bunch of guys got together. And I think that it says a lot about, when people do have a defined goal in mind and you have a mission that everybody's a part of, I think it gives more unity to the whole movement. And I've seen where you guys have come from the point where now you guys have 30 full scholarships, I think is amazing. So if people are interested in sending students to Palmer, how do they do that?
Okay, one of the easy ways to do that is to go to palmerrugby.com again, and there is a link right on their front page to refer a student. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll make sure that I put the link in there for our referral portal to in the comments when we're done with the Facebook Live, and then this way anybody can copy it and paste it and whatever. I just keep it open on my phone all the time, and anytime I go to some rugby thing and talk to some new rugby hotshot that might be a little interested, man, I just put him in, and then if he ends up attending Palmer, we get credit, and it's great. So I've got a couple of guys in the works right now that I'm hoping are going to come through. One fellow that's been playing professionally in Australia, he's going to finish up with that, and hopefully next year he's going to matriculate And, he came through the portal. We put him in there. And it's very easy, right on the phone. You just put in some demographics in, and you get it right in. So.
Yeah, I've actually tried to refer a couple students there as well to play rugby. And I know that honestly getting into Palmer is a big deal. And I know that playing rugby there is a big deal. And to do both of them sometimes can be a little daunting on anybody. So I congratulate anybody that's actually done both and actually have gone on to have a career in chiropractic, because I know just from the early stages of meeting everyone, it wasn't an easy process for any of you.
Just to be clear, we don't have to just put guys or girls through the portal that want to play rugby at Palmer. Any students that we meet, anybody that's interested, we can put them through. They don't have to go there and play rugby. We're just going to say, are they interested in rugby or not? And, we'll take it from there. And so this way we'll get credit for that referral as well.
I guess that takes us to the next question then too, is who is the symposium for? And is it just for rugby players?
No. Okay. Obviously, any Palmer alumni of rugby, but we have doctors coming from all different schools now. Okay, because the lineup of our speakers is just starting to become so impressive. Okay, that we're attracting people from other schools. And I think I have one that went to New York Chiropractic College who wants to come this year. He's trying to figure out if he can work out that time frame to go. And, that's pretty exciting that we're starting to attract people from outside the Palmer alumni circle. So, our event is really very, very solidly chiropractic based, and it is very exciting and dynamic through most of it. And you know what? I did miss one of our lecturers. I missed Deed Harrison. He does chiropractic biophysics. And if you have not seen the research that he is doing and publishing, he's probably one of the most published chiropractors out there now. You have to come to see him speak and see the research that he's doing. It is absolutely tremendous. Okay, and it is some really very important work, and I'm glad that we have him and that he's doing that work.
Yeah, I also am really attached to Deed. I actually started working at Dr. Walker's office, and he did chiropractic biophysics. So early on, I watched everything, every video that Deed ever did. I watched all of it. So I became an educated lay person that didn't go through a chiropractic program. But equivalency, I've studied so much about human anatomy. I've studied so much about the dynamics of concussions. I've studied about the dynamics of impact. I mean, what you guys are doing and what you know as doctors is, it's very impressive to me, being somebody that didn't know anything about this. And now over a brief stint of, I would say, a decade, I've been educating myself on Deed's work, Fred Schofield's work. And if people don't know who Fred Schofield is and what he's done, I mean, didn't Fred used to just do all the teaching? He would bring everybody out there and do all the talk?
Yes, when our symposium wasn't the symposium, and it was really just our alumni group, he did all the teaching. So he would spend the weekend teaching us and donate his time, and he donates his time and his treasure and his talent. And just put on the continuing education for us. And so, if you haven't seen him, even if you have seen him before, he teaches you something new every single time you see him. Mm-hmm. And if you want to get yourself charged up about what you're doing, he's a great speaker to see. He's really just full of so much energy, you can't help just bleeding over into you.
Yeah, and there's just so many dynamic people that are going to be there that aren't on the stage. So getting around like the up and comers, like the Matt Hartenbergs, and learning what he's doing. And maybe, there's a platform for the next speaker. If you come and attend, you can learn from the greats that are up there, put yourself on the track, set your goals, and maybe it's your stage in 2 to 3 years.
That's true. There's going to be more and more room. Eventually, we're going to run we envision running separate curriculums, meaning that we're going to have more than one class going at the same time. Okay, as we get bigger and bigger, we're going to offer people more choices.
Well, I certainly appreciate you guys inviting me into the chiropractic family there at Palmer, and inviting me into the rugby family, and making me feel at home, and allowing me to give my time and my talents to the Palmer Rugby alumni group, and helping spread this message of chiropractic excellence through the Palmer Rugby message. And I just thank you for spending some time with me today. I have over that shoulder the Old Boys logo. So we're representing the group that you represent. And thank you for sharing your information on how people can get involved.
I'm always glad to talk to you, Jim. I'm happy to share the info, and hopefully we'll get a few more people out to the symposium. If you haven't signed up yet and you're thinking about it, don't miss out. Come on out and make sure you sign up and attend the banquet on Saturday night, because that's where you're going to get to mix with speakers and mix with the players, and so you're going to mix with 100 current students at Palmer and a whole bunch of other alumni that are doing every type of thing you can possibly do in chiropractic. Hope I see you there.
Yeah, and
I know I'll see you, Jim.
I'll be there too. So if you guys wanted to come out there and see all of us, it's April 13th and 14th back at the Fountainhead, Davenport, Iowa. And we're going to have a good time, and we're all going to celebrate the future of Palmer and the future of rugby. And with that being said, I'm going to sign off today on this afternoon session of Chiro Hustle. But Dr. John, have a blessed rest of your day, and let's just keep on pushing this message.
You too, Jim. Thanks for having me again.
All right, we'll see you.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.